Hello and welcome. My name's Mark Bailey from Meetings Club, trusted online reviews for conference meeting and event organisers. Thanks for watching the Meetings Club channel. Now, I'm joined by Jeremy McCarthy, who is the Corporate Director of Spas for the Mandarin Oriental Hotel Group based in Hong Kong. Hi, Jeremy. How's Hong Kong today?
Yeah, good. We have a nice sunny day here today. Thanks, Mark.
It's a little bit cold here in England, but at least it's not snowing. Thanks ever so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to chat to Meetings Club about the psychology of spas and well-being. Now, you've worked in the hospitality industry for over 20 years now, and you've opened and operated spas in many luxury resort hotels. But I'm really curious why you studied psychology for a career in the hospitality industry. Are the two subject areas related?
I think they are related. It's a little bit an accident that I happened to study psychology. I actually was studying psychology when I had my first hotel job. But I enjoyed my work in hospitality, and I felt like the things that I was learning in psychology did very much apply, because at the end of the day, we're trying to create experiences for people, and those experiences really have a lot to do with what's going on in their heads when they're staying with us and how we make them feel emotionally, psychologically. So yeah, I think it directly relates to what we do.
So the psychology of the spa experience, as you see it, is not really, it's not just about the facilities that make a great spa experience, but it's very much the people and the environment.
Yeah, so I think if you look at the way that most spas market themselves and what most spas talk about, first of all, spas define themselves as places that deliver well-being across mind, body, and spirit. So we talk about that kind of mental, spiritual component of wellness that presumably is what spas are offering. But I think if you look at the way that most spas market themselves and the aspects of the business that most spas talk about, it does tend to focus on the facilities, on the ingredients in the products, on the specific techniques of treatments that are being delivered. And so there is, I think, in most spas an overemphasis on the physical aspects of the experience. But actually, I think a great spa experience, or a really bad spa experience for that matter, is really driven by what's going on inside a person's head when they're enjoying the experience, and how we make them feel, and what was kind of the emotional connection to the experience, and what was the overall psychological aspect of what the experience was. That those things are actually much deeper and more profound and more impactful to our guests than the details of the physical experience.
So do you think that the role of spas in today's society is not really only just about pampering, if I can use that word, forgive me, but it's actually fulfilling a real service which is not necessarily offered by other parts of the medical world?
Yeah, and actually, I don't even mind the word pampering. I mean, I think sometimes pampering has a negative connotation, but if you think about what is missing in other aspects of health and well-being, it is that aspect of really making people feel good about the experiences that they're having. I think if you look across the spectrum of different wellness offerings, spa is actually the only kind of wellness intervention that people really look forward to experiencing and enjoy it while they're there and remember fondly afterwards. We don't look forward to going to a doctor, even though presumably the doctor is supposed to help us feel better, but we never look forward to the experience because it lacks that pampering, it lacks that kind of nurturing care and attention, which actually people really need when we're not well. So I do think that is something that spas deliver that is missing in other aspects of the healthcare spectrum.
Now, we read and see increasing reports about mental health, the stress that people are working under. Do you think this is the main reason why people are visiting spas, and how does spas actually help?
Well, I definitely feel that there's a growing awareness about mental health issues, that people increasingly find that the challenges to their own well-being are mental, and living in the digital age where we're kind of over-consuming information and spending too much time on technology, and that technology may be in some ways interfering with our close personal relationships that are critical to well-being. So there is this component of mental wellness that seems to be being strained by modern life. And I think what spas offer, even though this isn't necessarily the first thing that people think of when they go to a spa, I think what spas offer is a place to go where you can be separated from technology for a while, spend some time in silence, just be alone with your own thoughts, and experiencing the nurturing care of an attentive therapist who's really there for your own well-being. And so those aspects of disconnecting from technology, having time, just allowing our minds to settle from the overconsumption of information that we all have in the modern world, and that nurturing connection with another human being, those are core aspects of mental wellness that everybody needs more of in their lives, that are increasingly scarce in the modern digital age.
So is that why the Mandarin Oriental Group have actually launched a new initiative called Mindful Meetings? Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Well, I think when you look at the meetings experience being offered by the hospitality industry, you go into a conference or a meeting, and if it's a multi-day event where you're spending 2 or 3 days in a meeting room, usually it means you're spending far too much time sitting. You're not getting the chance to move your body. You're being constantly pumped with caffeine and sugary foods to kind of keep your energy going, and you're being PowerPointed to death, and just being exposed to way too much information with very little downtime, so that you can process the information that you're receiving and really figure out, extract meaning out of it and figure out how to apply it to your business or to your needs. And so I think what meetings have become, in a way, is kind of a quintessentially unhealthy experience, where you don't move enough, you're not mindful enough, you're not eating healthfully, and you come out of 3-day meetings feeling completely drained, and what you don't feel is like you're ready to just leap into action and go start applying all the incredible information that you just received. And so the idea of mindful meetings is, as we have developed this great expertise in spa and wellness in all of our hotels, and we have wellness experts implanted in each hotel that help our guests with the different wellness programs, is we thought, what if we could bring some of that into this meeting space and create meetings that are more energizing, that are healthier, that are better for participants, but that are also more productive because the participants are energized during the meeting, and they're eating foods that sustain energy rather than give you a quick burst and then leave you drained. And they're getting moments of downtime when they can process the things that they're learning, and they're getting moments of exercise where they can move their bodies. And so creating meetings experiences where people come out of that experience not feeling drained and exhausted, but actually feeling energized and ready to go and execute on the materials that have been covered in the meeting.
So there seems to be a lot closer link between corporate meetings and events and the spa world, where I always thought that they were really quite apart in many respects. There is a coming together here of thinking and action.
Yeah, the way that I describe it is, I think one of the biggest trends right now is a macro trend that I would call wellness everywhere, which is that the consumers used to be content to kind of, grind out an unhealthy existence at work and then look for their positive wellness, little pockets of wellness where they can on the weekends or after work. And they would have their gym that they would go to, or they would have their things that they would do to find balance. But nowadays, the consumers want wellness everywhere. They don't want to just carve out a little pocket of wellness here or there. They want it at home, they want it at work, they want it when they travel. And so I think increasingly, people want their offices to be set up in a way that is conducive to a healthier lifestyle. And if people are participating in meetings, they don't want to have to put their wellness lifestyle on hold for 3 days to be in a meeting. They want to be able to get the healthy foods that they would normally eat. They want to be able to exercise as they normally would. And they want to have some downtime so that they can process the things that they're learning.
So finally, and thanks again for your time, what do you think is the next big thing when it comes to spas around the world? Have you got a crystal ball there?
Well, I'm not entirely sure what the next thing is, but I think the trends that we see are not going to slow down anytime soon. So the relationship that we have with technology, technology is probably the biggest negative impact on human well-being that our species has ever experienced. And it leads us into more sedentary lifestyles, more stressful lifestyles. So I think that's going to continue to be a challenge for people in the next decade. But technology is also the biggest hope for our future, because probably the solutions to those challenges are also going to come from technology. So we see new wellness apps, new ways of interacting with technology that do drive healthier behavior. So I think that's going to continue to be a big trend. And I also think mindfulness, which has become somewhat trendy, but I actually think we're just at the beginning of the mindfulness trend, because I think mindfulness is a direct response to our relationship with technology. And the faster the pace of change in the world, the more important it is that we take some time to slow down and understand how our mind works, and how we are at times being manipulated by our technologies, or being pulled away from our most important goals by technology. So I think we'll see mindfulness increasingly a part of the wellness offer that consumers are looking for.
Well, Jeremy, thanks very, very much indeed for your time. It's been great to talk to you. And if you'd like to find out a little bit more about the psychology of spas and well-being, check out what is a really great book. It's Jeremy's great book, A Guide to the Science of Holistic Healing. And if you go to psychologyofwellbeing.com, you'll be able to find and download and get access to the book. So Jeremy, thanks very much indeed for joining the Meetings Club channel today.
Thank you, Mark. It was a pleasure.